Hard.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Bring it home.
I'll bring it home, don't you worry. And I won't rant like the last one.
I like the...
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I was inspired to speak in my adjournment tonight about the transformation of Western Sydney after reading an article in the Daily Telegraph by journalist Lachlan Lemming titled "How Cities West Was Won, Region's Stunning Growth Captured in a Landmark Study." The article begins by saying, and I quote, "It was once considered the problem child of Sydney, run down, neglected and plain old forgotten, the city's west, and its many faces stretching from the foot of the Blue Mountains to the outer edges of the inner west, was viewed as the cause, not the shining solution of most of Sydney's issues and problems, no longer. With unprecedented billions flowing into the area, an airport which promises to link it directly with the rest of the world, and a cultural and educational revolution underway, Western Sydney stands poised to usher in a decade of growth which will completely alter the face of our entire state and nation. Mr. President, I can attest to this. As members of this House would know, I grew up in Penrith, where the Sydney CBD was a long, long train ride away, but for many in a similar position to myself, they had no choice but to travel to the city for work each day, for education, or to have access to the airport, or to travel overseas, or to visit arts and cultural institutions, but no more. The Berejiklian government has the transformation of Western Sydney at the forefront of our mind. No longer do Western Sydney residents have to travel into Sydney CBD to work or to play. They will have it right in their backyard. The 30-minute city, the 3 cities 30 minutes away, we can work, play and get services is reality. They now have the same opportunities those living in Sydney have always had as well as equal investment in infrastructure to their region. Not only are we investing in Western Sydney of today, we're investing in the Western Sydney of the future. These investments are not planned to operate just merely for 10 or 20 years. They are planned to operate for generations to come, creating intergenerational wealth. Mr. President, seeing as I only have limited time on adjournment, I would like to take, which would take many hours to detail all the infrastructure investments in Western Sydney, which we've heard regularly in the House. I'd like to take this opportunity to remind those opposite, if they're here, of what this government is delivering in the region, some of the highlights. Transport and infrastructure, a $2.4 billion Parramatta Light Rail already nearing completion. The Sydney Metro West, the Blue Mountains intercity train fleet and the train line upgrade. In roads and infrastructure, $4.1 billion for the Western Sydney Infrastructure Plan, which is jointly funded by the Berejiklian and the Morrison governments. And the Great Western Highway upgrade, $2 billion for the Katoomba to Lithgow section, and maybe up to $8 billion for the new tunnel proposal. And I hear the Honourable Sam Faraway, who works with the Minister and myself on that project, and it's a very exciting project. It's going to really change Central West of New South Wales. In arts and culture, of course, the much lamented by that side, the Powerhouse Museum at Parramatta, a cultural institution to be proud of. In health, which is one of the areas I'm most proud of, $1 billion committed to Nepean Hospital, where I happen to have been born, and attracting as a stimulus other private investment around the hospital. Indeed, only the other day I turned aside for a new $100 million private hospital across the road from the Nepean Hospital, which will have economies of scale to the hospital. Rouse Hill Hospital Redevelopment Project, more than $1 billion committed to the Westmead Children's Hospital, and $700 million and more going into the Liverpool Hospital. The Western Parkland City and the Aerotropolis, which has attracted already over $20 billion in commitment to investments. Mr. President, this is not even a detailed list. I could go on for hours and hours about this government's investments and commitment to Western Sydney. And what do the residents of Western Sydney think about this investment? Well, according to Christopher Brown, the founding chair of the regional think tank Western Sydney Leadership Dialogue, the region's changed face in 5 years, has ushered in a new level of aspiration for the residents. He stated, quote, "Western Sydney is now Sydney's solution, not its problem. 5 years ago, your aspiration was to get home from the train station safely, hopefully before dark. Now it's a solution to growth, to health. Why can't the cure from cancer come from Western Sydney?" Mr. President, I echo those sentiments. The opportunities for Western Sydney are endless, and I'm proud, very proud, to be a member of the government who believes and is delivering on the potential of Western Sydney.
Is there any member seeking the call? In that case, the House now stands adjourned.
Don't encourage that.
Oh, well, it was always a favourite, wasn't it?
You'll all jump up and do